This might be the most ridiculous phone controller I've ever seen. This is the GameSir X3 Pro Type C, and it's got a fan on it. But before I talk about it, let's just unbox it. Really nice packaging, GameSir, and look at this. I was really surprised to see a really nice quality case. There's still more stuff in the box. We get your manuals and all that kind of stuff in there, but we also get a really nice braided cable as well, which is a C to C. And it's really long, like that is a long cable, probably 2 meters, I would say, a 2 meter cable, maybe 1.5 meters, something like that. I'd say probably close to 2 meters. And there is a reason we're gonna need this USB-C cable just here, and that is because to power that fan, we're gonna need to power it because it won't take power from the actual phone, right? But the case just here is really nice, like really nice. It's like a really soft feeling case with a little handle on the top, and inside gives you all of this. So on the top, we actually have replaceable thumbsticks, right? And they've got the metal anti-friction rings, which I absolutely love to see. So we've got different ones just there. Or if you're like me and you like the tiny little sticks, I swear they make these just for me, then, you know, there we go. You've got the tiny little ones as well, which will stick on. And then, oh, you also have another D-pad. We get this one, which looks kind of like Umbrella Corp's logo a little bit. And then, of course, we get the device itself. I really like the colorway. Like, I'm on a bit of a teal binge at the minute, and I'm loving this kind of tealy green. I'd say this is a little bit more green than teal, but I still really like it. And the fact that it's transparent, absolutely wicked. Now, on the back just here, there is a sticker and it says, warning, 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 take this off, because your phone's gonna sit on this back paddle thing, because that is actually what's gonna transfer the heat away from the phone and out of this fan, right? So the fan is gonna, I don't know if it's actually, I'm not too sure if it's blowing inward or taking it out. I imagine it's blowing in to cool that pad to then cool your phone. It might be the other way around. Maybe it's transferring heat to that and maybe it's blowing it out. Not too sure, we'll find out in a minute. And of course, because this is a phone controller, it's got a massive reach. It is USB-C. You'll be inputting your phone here and then charging it up and powering the fan with this. However, if you don't want to use the fan, you don't need to have this plugged in. It will just work whilst it's plugged into the USB-C of your phone. But obviously, if you want more battery life and stuff, then you're gonna, want to keep it charged up here. Now, one thing I really like, but there's also one part of it that I don't like, is that everything uses mechanical switches. I'm a massive mechanical switch advocate. I just love it. You've got tactile feedback. They are super fast to actuate. Really, really, really quick, right, at pressing and returning. So very, very responsive. They call it esports grade, right? Because it's all about like how fast you can press the button, especially in like shooters and stuff. You want to be able to like get that input as soon as possible. And that's what you're going to get with all these buttons. Even the D-pad is a mechanical switch D-pad. I really like it. Like, I am, again, a fan of mechanical switches, but the only negative is that the triggers are also mechanical switches, which, whilst that's excellent for pretty much most mobile games, if you're going to be streaming games and you want to play like a racer, for example, you don't have an analog input, so you cannot feather the throttle on a car game. It's just going to be 0 or 100%, right? It's either foot up and on brake, or foot to the floor. So that's the only negative here with it being a digital switch. But personally, the kind of games that I'd be playing on my phone, I'd be wanting a digital input because it's just much quicker. It's immediate actuation, so your input is done immediately, right? So that means on shooters, you're going to have the edge because you're not having to waste time and movement on an analog trigger. You're going to input immediately, okay? So that's a positive. Same with the face buttons. Face buttons are all like that too, but there is a trick up its sleeve. You can actually change these. So you can see right now it's in an Xbox layout, but if you wanted it in a Nintendo layout, or if you wanted to make your own for no reason at all, you can do that. You can pull these out, but it's really fiddly. So for ages, I was like, how do I get these out? Because they're magnetized in, right? But they've given you the tiniest little finger input piece here, and you have to kind of like pull it up and out. That just there on camera is the easiest I've ever done this. I was sat here before going like, how do I get it out? How do I get it out? And there's like a tiny lip on one side. Now I wish they'd put the same lip on the other side so you could pinch from both sides and pull, but you can't. You kind of need to lever it on one side. I can't do it again now. There we go. Ah. So yeah, just take my word for it. You saw me pull it out. There we go, there we go, there we go. So they're all just magnetized. I've actually just broke my nail whilst doing that, wicked. But yeah, so you can just pull them all out and then swap them around in any way because they all sit flat and flush to the top of this. So it means that they don't need different housings. You know, it doesn't come with any spares that are different sizes so that it fits right. It's just a flat surface so they all can be interchanged. So it is a good point, but I wouldn't be moving this around a lot. If you are a Nintendo layout person, just move it once and then you never need to worry about it again. If you're like me and you're just leaving it in Xbox mode, well then again, you don't really need to worry that they're removable. They're not just going to fall out, right? Like if I hit this down like that, they're not coming out at all. The other thing is of course, these joystick caps are removable, right? So let's put on the little nubbins, as I call them. So you've got to line it up and push down. There we go. So I've got one in. Again, a little bit fiddly because they are keyed. So they only go in one way. Like, so these little like feet have to be lined vertically and then pushed down. So it takes a little bit of fiddling around, but you know, once it's in there, it's fine. And I really like the nubbin. Personally, I feel like I get a bit more of range of motion on these, but that's just me. There is an anti-friction ring as well as the anti-friction metal rings just there. So I would expect them to be really smooth, but weirdly, they're not. Like, they still feel a little bit scratchy. I'm sorry, GameSir, I've just got to tell you how it is. But yeah, they're a little bit scratchy, and I've no idea why. I've never seen a controller with anti-friction rings and metal anti-friction rings where it feels a little bit not smooth. Like, it's weird. I mean, the benefit is it's not going to wear, but, you know, I would prefer it if it was a bit smoother, and I don't know if that's down to the anti-friction ring itself or these metal caps maybe not being polished enough. I'm not too sure, but you know, that's the way it is. But ultimately, when you're playing a game, you don't notice. They are Hall effect sticks as well. So we've got Hall effect joysticks, which means they're not going to drift and they're going to have quicker inputs. You know, they're just better all round, so you're not going to have to worry with these joysticks. And yeah, we've covered the D-pad, so it's a digital input D-pad, but we can just pop it off and then it reveals the little dome, right? And then you can just stick on the other one, and it does have like, I dropped it. It does have like little like feet that it has to sit in. So you just kind of like spin it around until it seats in there and then just push down and you're good to go. The other thing, of course, is these. Now, you've got little like grips, which I massively recommend if you're an adult or if you've got bigger hands, because ergonomically it sits perfectly into your hands like that on the right stick, because we've got an asymmetrical joystick layout, right? The thumbstick down here is really low. So if I take this off and try and get here, that's really crampy. Like my hand is cramping right down there, right? But if I put this back on, now I can sit that in the palm of my hand and reach this very easily, because look how much sort of that gives you there. It's a massive bit of ergonomic like grip. But yeah, taking these off, you just pull them out, and then to put them back in, you need to align them to the side. But let's just take both off. Now we've just made this whole thing way smaller. So if you're only going to be using the left stick or the D-pad and the face buttons, let's say maybe you're doing some emulation or something, this can be really, really portable now. But we still have ergonomic grips. So they've still tried their best to make this as comfortable as possible. And they've done well. It's still more comfortable than a Nintendo Switch. So they've definitely won there. But I like the fact that you've got these, and I like the fact that they're removable as well. So all you have to do is line them up with those holes on the back and kind of push down until they kind of sort of press fit in. And it's fairly easy to do. You just do it like that and now you're done, which is pretty cool. And that's basically it. We've got the USB on the bottom, and then you've got a couple of buttons on the top, a couple of buttons at the bottom, and then of course this. So let's get our phone and pop it inside, shall we? Now, one thing that I dislike is the fact that you can't use a case. So I've got the Google 8 Pixel Pro just here, and I've got a mouse case on it. It's a pretty big, hefty case, right? But yeah, it's too big for it to fit. So I did get the USB in and then kind of got it in like this, but it won't actually get the USB in because it's too big, right? So I jammed it, and why have I still got a Christmas wallpaper on? Wow, didn't realize that. Well, whatever. Yeah, there we go. Oh, no, there we go. Yeah, that's why you shouldn't use it. And I did just pinch my finger, so ow. That immediately gets my back up because I don't like removing the case. You know, you're gonna see a lot of dust and stuff under here because I never remove the case because I want to keep it protected. So the fact that if I'm going out traveling with this, right, or if I'm sat somewhere, I'm gonna have to get my phone out, then I'm gonna have to take the case off, throw the case somewhere and hope that I don't lose it, to then set up this, right? That's annoying. But there is a logical and practical reason why they don't want you using a case, of course, is that it won't transfer heat correctly because of this fan. So most other phone controllers, even GameSir's Galileo and stuff, some of them you can use cases with, but this one obviously, it's got a fan on it, so they don't want you using a case because they want maximum heat transfer. So you just get it like this, stick it in, and then straight away it's going to, you know, connect. There is a bit of a downside though. Can you see that there is actually a gap between the back of my phone and this heated pad? The USB-C, whilst it moves up and down, it doesn't shift up and down on this plane. So my phone's actually like too far forward. Whereas if that USB-C was further back or had like at least a couple of millimeter movement, it would be able to shift the whole thing backwards and then be able to actually fully touch that back plate for maximum heat transfer. So I'm a little skeptical as to how well it's going to transfer heat because it's actually sat on it at an angle, right? It's not flush, it is at an angle. So there's an air gap between the back of my phone and that plate. But, you know, the rest of it's touching. I'd say there's probably 70% of my phone touching that. So it could be better, in my opinion. The only way you could fix that, GameSir, is by getting that USB-C port and making it able to be moved up and down on this plane so that once it's connected, it can sit back and fully flush onto that. But whatever, now we're in the app because there is a GameSir app. And once you're in there, you can check the device's firmware. So I've already upgraded mine. There's no update available. And it will come up just straight away saying, would you like to update the firmware if it can sense one, right? But this is what the app is like. You either got these little tiles just here that you can go up and down on the side with, or you can click on it and then get a bigger view. So you've got Gamepad Test, where you can test everything out and see if everything's working correctly, you know, and inputting correctly, which is pretty cool, which I do like. It shows these two buttons at the top, but not the two at the bottom. And then we can go to button settings, but there's only this. You can either switch it from an Xbox layout or a Switch layout. Now, of course, you'd have to physically change these around if you were doing the Switch layout, but that's it. There's no like button rebinding or anything here. It's just the layout that you can select there. So I would have liked to have seen in button settings remap options, but you know, maybe they wanted to keep it basic this time around, but whatever. Joystick settings, then you can see here we can increase or decrease the dead zone. So there's already a 5% dead zone to account for any jittering around the like central plane. You've also got the gyroscope settings just here, so you can click into there. You can activate it with buttons, which I love. So if you were on a shooter, you could assign it to the left trigger so that when you held up your sights, you could then use gyro to like get a finer, you know, accuracy. You've got vibration intensity as well, so you can change either side and all that stuff. You can change the overall strength as well. You've got radiator mode, which, you know, is off at the minute, but if I plug this in, it's gone to silent mode, and now it's gone to quick chilling. And yeah, you can see now that there's a light in it, and it's definitely pulling air in and cooling that pad. So earlier when I was saying like, oh, I don't know if it's pulling it in or sucking it out, it's actually pulling air in for sure and then trying to cool that pad. But he's loud, listen. It's pretty loud. That is on quick chilling, right? If I put it on silent mode, this is silent mode. Still pretty loud in my opinion. But you know, if you're a hardcore phone gamer and you're like playing for ages, you know, and you really want to keep your phone cool and not overheat and stuff, then you know, you've got that. And it also of course charges your phone via this port as well. And you've got, well, there you go, charging mode. Once turned on, plug in your charging cable to charge your phone. You can turn that off and then it's not charging your phone. I don't know why you'd want that, maybe your phone is at full battery and you want to save your battery on your phone, that I understand. You would then want to turn off the charging. Now, whilst I'm waiting for this game to load up, I normally show you all this, but I'm just going to show you the manual because this video is already far too long because I've been talking about loads of other stuff. But a lot of those features that are found within the app, you can actually do on the fly with button presses and configurations, right? You've got a bunch of different things that you can do. So you can switch the input mode, you can enable turbo, you can adjust the cooler power, you could toggle pass-through charging on the fly, you can adjust vibration, switch the layout, and even adjust the volume of your phone, which I think is actually really, really good to be able to do on the fly without having to back out of a game or anything like that to then go into the app. If you remember the button configurations, you can do all this on the fly. Absolutely wicked. I really like GameSir for doing that kind of thing. So now we are in Diablo Immortal just here. And yeah, I mean, I could easily play this game with no issues with this controller. Like, it just feels so natural in your hands. Like, it actually makes you feel like you're not playing on a phone, you know, because I can't play on the phone using touchscreen controls. I just cannot do that. That is not me at all. I want, you know, a proper controller experience, and this gives you that. Like, it really does. If you are using this for actual phone games like this right here, where I would never play Diablo Immortal if it wasn't for a controller like this. Like, I just wouldn't even bother touching it, right? But with a controller like this, it stops me from going, to actually going, yeah, actually, I want to play this now, because it's no different than just playing like on PC, like with a controller, or, you know, on like the Switch, or, you know, on a console. Like, it's a really good experience, really high quality controller, really enjoy it. It makes me enjoy the game way more. But obviously you've also got emulation that you could do with this, as well as streaming. So you could totally stream games from like Xbox Game Pass or whatever, or from your PC, you know, if that's what you want to do. This opens the door up for turning your phone into any kind of sort of gaming situation that you want it to be. Of course, this is for the hardcore people that are going to be playing on their phone only because of this fan setup, and it is loud. Like, that is loud. You know, there's no getting around it. It's loud. Is it going to keep your phone fully charged? Yeah. You know, it's going to give you a way better gaming experience? Yes. But for me, it's going to be doing light phone gaming to substitute, like, when I don't have anything else on me. The fact that I have to take the case off to get that, like, heated paddle thing to work, bit of a letdown for me. Overall, though, this comes in at £66. I think that's a good asking price, but you can get the GameSir G8 Galileo on offer for around £60 now. So if you're not needing this fan, I'd probably recommend that one. But if you're a hardcore phone gamer and you really want to have this fan cooling ability and all you do is phone game, this is a wicked controller. Micro switches everywhere, Hall effect, sensing joysticks, really, really good. You know, you've got so much going here. It's just not for me personally. I'm sorry, GameSir, but for what it does, it's really good. So what do you think of the GameSir X3 Pro Type-C? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, then like the video, subscribe, become a member, and you can see these videos early, and you can talk to me and AJ on our private Discord. Talking of AJ, make sure you subscribe to this channel and stick around for his videos over on the news episodes and our podcast as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.